Hello students and welcome to the e-learning program initiated by Shri Gyanmanjari Vidyapith for the students of Standard 10, in which we are learning the subject of social science. Students, this is the fifth lecture for chapter number 9. Name of the chapter is Human Development. This chapter is the first chapter in the civics part of this 10th standard social science textbook. As this is the fifth lecture, let us quickly take a recap of what we have learned in the previous lectures for this chapter. A quick recap. First, we learned about the meaning of human development, where human development means extending human aspirations and also fulfilling the basic essential necessities of human beings. The older concept of human development, that is, in the early days, nations believed that higher the economic growth, higher is the human development. So basically, all the nations, they worked very hard in developing their economic growth and thus developing their gross domestic product and having a higher GDP and thus having a higher per capita income. So more the economic growth, more the GDP and more the PCI that you have, then it is considered that human development is considered more over there. But later on people came to know that we do have more economic growth, we do have more GDP, we do have more per capita income, but the life of the people, that is not changing. The lifestyle is not changing. People are not developing in the way that they should have developed along with the increase in the economic growth and per capita income. So the nations came to a conclusion that alone your earning or per capita income, that is not enough. How a nation, how the people spend their money, that is also important. Then we come to HDI and HDR. The concept of HDI, that is Human Development Index, was developed by Amartya Sen, who is of Indian origin and also Nobel Prize winner. He propounded this theory, and with the help of United Nations and under that United Nations Development Program, in 1990 the first HDR report was made, and since then 20 years, that means 1992 1990 to 2009, all the countries of the world, they were measured in terms of three economic criterias, and accordingly HDI was prepared and all the countries were placed according to their ranking that they got in HDI in the HDR, that is Human Development Report. Now, three specific economic criteria were taken for that consideration. First is health, second is education, that is the way people get knowledge, and the third was considered to be per capita income. This continued till 2009. From 2010, the three criteria indicators that were taken, they became index themselves. That means life expectancy, then that became index, so that more things can be covered in it, and life expectancy can itself become an index. Same way, knowledge was again subdivided into information that is gathered, that is MYS and EYS, and the third one, that is the per capita income. So in that way all these three income index, so all these three became, rather than indicators, they became index themselves, and on the whole composite, whatever figures we got in these three indexes, composite of that, then a country was evaluated on that purpose and then the ranking was decided, right? So how is the ranking decided? it is decided by giving the according to the data that is collected, and then that data is put in numbers, and then we come to a specific figure. So that figure is always between 0 to 1. If the number achieved by any country is more towards 1, then it is supposed that that country has higher development, and if it is towards 0, then it is considered to have low human development. And we have seen that according to the HDR report 2015, Norway stands at number 1 position in the world with 0.944 ranking points, and it scores number 1 position in the world in terms of human development. Our number is at 130th, that is 130, and we have, that is our ranking, 130 is our ranking, and the points that we have scored up to now is 0.609. All the countries, they were divided into 4 tiers: highest human development, high human development, medium or average human development, and low human development. We come in the category of the third one, that is medium or average human development, whereas Norway, which stands at 0.944, it comes in the first tier. So we learned that. Then we learned that India is still at 130th position if we consider 188 countries in the world. So it is just 50 countries, about 58 countries to be sure exact. So we still have to go way ahead in terms of human development. Now, what are the challenges faced by India in improving their human development or improving their HDI? So the challenges faced are health, sex ratio, and women empowerment. Out of that, we learned about health in the previous lecture. Now we learned a little bit about sex ratio also, but now we'll see the statistical figures. Census favors the women, but statistical figures do not. Now, according to India's census means the counting of the population, which is usually done per decade, that means per 10 years. After each regular interval, population is counted. So majorly everywhere, population is counted after every 10 years, that is 1 decade. Now India's population is quite big, so usually it takes us 1 year to completely calculate the population of India. And along with the counting of the population, we also collect lots of information from the people, population के साथ साथ में, क्योंकि हम घर घर जाके information collect कर रहे हैं, so that not a single person is left without counting. So we know, we gather lots of information, for example, which religion the family is following, how many members are there, how many educated, how many are doing a job or doing a business, or what is the monthly income, etc. So we come to know about lots of other information as well when we are counting the population. So census, that term is census, that means population counting, which is done per 10 years, every 10 years. It favors the women. Yesterday, the previous lecture we talked about that population is always seen when we are counting proportion, men is to women. How many men, how many women, right? Usually it remains standard that 50% will be male, 50% should be female, that children, adults, and elder people, all of them are counted, men and women, 2 standard divisions. Now population is always counted in terms of proportion is always counted in terms of male and female. Then per 1,000 males, how many females are there in the country or in a particular region, right? So we get a ratio 1:1 is 50-50 तकरीबन होता है, ऊपर नीचे थोड़ा बहुत इधर चलता है. Now census favors the women. It means that per 1,000 male, suppose it might be 980 females, it might be 960 females. No, it is not that much a big gap between the males and the females. So according to census, women are almost equal to men. But statistical figures that we see, that is quite something else. According to India's census of 2011, in this year 2020, we were supposed to start census counting, right? Counting of the population. But because of this pandemic, we were not able to do so. But I think very soon the government will be starting. So we'll take the previous census, that is, which was counted in 2001 and published in 2011. 48.46% of our total population is female. So we see there is not such a huge gap. Yes, 70% is male and only 30% is female. इतना बड़ा gap नहीं है. It's marginal. Yes, according to the 130 crore of population. Of course, 48 and 52 is, there's a difference of almost 3.5 or 4 points, right? But we see that that is not quite big a difference. So it's not that the women in India, the number is quite small, right? 48.46. So only 1.5% away from 50%. Whereas same 1.5 is more. So actually देखा जाए तो men सिर्फ 3% ज़्यादा है, right? So that is not much. So we can say that census favor the women. That means almost they are 50-50. This means that as per census, the proportion of females is almost equal to that of the male in total population. 48.5, that's not quite far away, right? So females are a very good human resource. Now, it's a very important term over here, human resource. What do we understand by human resource? It means humans as resource. Right now, you're students, you're boys and girls, both sitting together in the same class. You are the upcoming human resource, because see, after 5-6 years, many of you will be passing out from the colleges, institutions, educational institutions, as doctors, engineers, IITians. So you are all the future human resource of India. So females also, they are a very good source for human resource, because we can train them and they can be helpful in, of course, human development to helpful हो ही जाता है, साथ में economical development of the country and of the particular people also increases. Hence, they should play a very good role in the development of Indian economy. But when we look at the statistical figures, now we come to the real numbers. We see that contribution of women in Indian economy is quite less compared to the men. We discussed this when we were discussing about the resources. At the time we discussed that in India it's a male dominated society, so usually we have a clear partition which doesn't happen in the Western countries, but in India we have a clear partition that men will do this job, women will do this job, right? When men will go out and earn money, whereas women will stay at home and do the household chores and look after children, bring up children, and take care of the house, family, elder people, children, all those things, right? So we have a clear partition over maximum. Yes, there are lots and lots of families where both husband and wife are working. Yes, apart from there, if the children are quite adult, yes, then many of the girls also, they are working. Yes, so the scenario is changing quite a lot. But then if we see the figures, then according to the, as compared to men, women are giving far less contribution in terms of in the Indian economy. A male gets an average schooling of 7.2 years. This all happens in the census. When we take the census, हाँ भाई आपकी family में कौन कितना पढ़ा है, so we get the feedback, right? So whole of that feedback is collected, and then the data that we get, statistical data that we get, then we get it for the whole of the country. So in that we see that usually a male gets an average schooling of 7.2 years, whereas a female gets only half, that is 3.6. right? Not even half. 7 का 3.5 होता है, right? तो ये तो 7 से ज़्यादा है, so 7.2 gets 3.6, almost half of what men gets. That means educationally, according to the literacy rate, women are not that much literate as men. So when they are not literate, yes, then they fall back. Where we discussed this earlier also, that government is ready. Many of the private institutions, they are ready to give jobs to women, but then women should be educated so that more and more women are absorbed in work area and in the workforce where educated people are required, right? So life expectancy is of women is more than men, but even though their per capita income is less than men. Life expectancy in terms of longevity, how long men will live, how long women will live. In that case, women live usually more longer than men. But in terms of per capita income, a man has more per capita income than woman on whole of the country basis. Man earns about 8,656 US dollars, whereas women earn just about 2,116 US dollars. That means 4 times less than men. India has 79.9% labor force that is male, whereas 27% is female. Out of the total workforce that we have, 79.9, that means almost 80% is male and 27% is female. So we can see the labor force. All of us are laborers, right? Whether it is you, whether it is me, your parents, elders, whoever is working, all of them are labor force. So if we consider that labor force, 80% of that labor force, 100% है men women मिला के, उसमें से 79.9, that is almost 80% is male, whereas only 27% is female, right? So even though census says that we have almost equal number of males and females, the contribution of females is far less than that in the economy. So according to census, we have equal population, almost equal population of men and women, right? But when we come down to statistical figures, men are earning more than women. Even in the workforce, we are almost more than 3.5% times more. Men are 3.5 times more than the women. Now, in the challenges, first we had the health, then we looked about at the contribution male and female wise, then now we come to women empowerment. This is one of the challenge faced by India. The creation of an environment for women where they can make decisions of their own for their personal benefit as well as for the society, that is called women empowerment. This is the definition for women empowerment, where we are able to create such a condition and situation where power is given in the hands of women. They can make independently their own decision, not only for themselves, not only for the family, not only for the society, but on in general, right? So not only personal benefits, but they can be helpful, their decisions can be helpful in the society as well. Then only that is called women empowerment. So by empowering them also means increasing their spiritual, political, social or economic strength. Now, just giving the power in their hands, that is not enough, right? So it means that we have to increase their participation in each and every field, whether that is politics, whether that is society. Everywhere we have to increase their power so they can be helpful in the society and they can be helpful to not only their family but the society, but on the country on the whole in terms of economy as well. So we have to give lots of powers in their hands so that they can work independently and take independent decisions. Scenario of women empowerment in India. Now, what happened earlier that all of us know, what is happening now, and what is going to be the future. India has taken several steps for empowering women. Indian women have served as Prime Minister, President, and as Chief Minister of different states. This is the truth. Yes, we have shown the world that we are improving in terms of women empowerment. Yes, one of the Prime Minister, first Lady Prime Minister of India, that is Srimati Indira Gandhi. Then we had Srimati Pratibha Patil as the Women President of India. Same way, there were lots and lots of Chief Ministers, and even now there are women. For example, in West Bengal, today we have Mamta Banerjee, Shri Mamta Banerjee as the Chief Minister of Bengal. Vasundhara Raje Scindia in Rajasthan. So many of the chief ministers were women. So in this way, we have given powers. It's not that we want to show the world that we are giving power in the hands of women, but we have given them enough opportunities in the field of politics so that they can come up themselves and they can be so deserving that power has to be given in their hands. So this tells us that we are truly a democratic country. So Indian women have served as the Prime Minister, President, and as Chief Ministers of different states. Today, Indian women are engaged in jobs like driving a motor car to flying high-tech aeroplane. Women are active in the field of social service, literature, journalism, sports, education, theater and drama, movie, TV, serials and news channel. Yes, let us take it one by one. Indian women, they're engaged in the jobs like driving a motor car. This is no big deal. Yes, we see lots of women drivers driving cars, and in the mega cities they even drive taxis. Yes, taxi services handled by many women in the mega cities. Auto rickshaws are run by them. They are in each and every field possible. They are even there in flying a high-tech aeroplane. Many of the pilots, co-pilots in passenger aircrafts, they are women. Even in Indian Air Force, Indian Navy, Indian Army, many of the pilots, they are women pilots. So in this way, women are now securing quite important and critical jobs, and slowly the scenario of Indian women in these fields, it's changing. Lots of women participate in this competitions and secure quite high position in the competitive exams, and then they become IAS, IPS, IFS. Women are also active in the field of social service. Yes, without caring about what the society will talk about them, they freely roam around in the slum areas trying to educate the poor children, or they opening up schools with the help of either the government or the NGOs, opening schools in the slum areas, in the remote areas where nobody is ready to go. So in these areas, women take up the initiatives and they are helpful for the society by doing social service. Then many of them, they have become authors, poet, and they have written quite a lot of things. Journalism, we can see in the field of journalism, lots of lady journalists are available. Anchoring is done in the TV, news channel, etc. In the field of sports, we have lots and lots of women candidates who have brought laurels to India by attending lots of international sporting events. In the field of education, Yes, if we consider the primary, then primary school, mostly you will see lady teachers teaching those small children because they're quite attached to, they get the motherly love from them, motherly touch from them, and they are encouraged to study more and more. Yes, so theater and drama, equal partnership is seen along with men, movies, TV serials. We see women, they are engaged in all these sort of different fields and jobs. The employment of women is expanding from working as a labor to working in top position in business and commerce. This is very true. We are not only talking about women working as laborers. For example, at construction site, you will see both the husband and wife, both of them are working equally over there, and children are kept in the day schools, Anganwadi, etc. And both husband and women, they work as labor in on the construction side. So we are from that level. We have seen that women have risen up according to their education, experience, skill, and talent. They have risen to the most powerful positions in lots of business and commerce. In lots of business houses, women have become CEO, and they have achieved quite notable positions in business and commerce. For example, two of the banks, one is a private bank and one is a nationalized bank. Yes, SBI के chairman जो है women है. Same way previously ICICI bank के भी chairman जो है she was a lady. So in this way, they have, even in business and commerce, they have reached the heights. Communication and many other areas we can find women, although women have developed quite well. That development is mainly concentrated in urban areas. This is true because in urban areas girls get proper opportunity to go to better schools, attend better colleges, come out with flying colors, secure good position in the examination, attempt competitive exams and score good marks in that and get jobs. But the position is that much secure in the rural areas. Still in the rural areas, because of orthodox thinking, girls are not allowed to go to school in some of the areas, or some areas in the rural area they lack schools after the primary schools. That is, they do not have higher secondary school or even secondary school or even high schools, so girls are not allowed to go to school in a nearby village, etc. So they have to stop their education and they either go to the fields and start working in their fields, or they remain at home and do the household chores. So in that way development is there, but in restricted up to urban areas. And although development is seen, but mainly concentrated in the urban areas, we have to work a lot in the rural area. The rural areas still lag quite behind in empowering women. Women welfare scheme, just like HDI and HDR, this is one of the most important topic in this chapter. There are lots and lots of different schemes launched by the government, especially made for women welfare. So we are going to look at it. In 1990, India has implemented many plans and programs for women development of women, and programs that are related to it. We started in 1980. India has set up very important National Commission for Women in 1992. This is very, very important, right? National Commission for Women was established in India in 1992. The Department of Women and Child Development launched National Policy for Women Empowerment 2001. This point is also important because Department of Women and Child Development, this is a separate department in the Lok Sabha, right? So that portfolio is created, office is created, and that office is Department of Women and Child Development. That launched national policy all over the nation. The same policy will be executed so that all the states have to follow it, right? So National Policy for Women Empowerment and 2001. This tells us when this policy was made with an aim to develop and empower women. So let us see What happens in this and how it happens? People working under the National Commission on Women Empowerment Policies have undertaken several programs for women empowerment. People working under that department and with the authorization of the national policy. Right? Now they work together and make several programs which are targeted for improving the position of women in the society, uplifting them and making them independent so that they can make decisions on their own. For that, empowerment has to be done. Some of these programs include strength building. Yes, collective strength. Women, a group of women, yes, if they get together, they can do a lot of wonderful work, right? Employment generation can be done, income generation can be done, welfare schemes can be launched, and supportive services and gender sanitation can be had. So these are the some of the important points on which National Commission of Women Empowerment and policies they work, plus the people working under the Department of Women and Child Development. Which are they? Programs include strength building, employment, income generation, welfare and supportive services, and gender sanitation. Very, very important. The government of India declared the year 2001 as Women Empowerment Year, because we have seen that in the same year 2001 National Policy for Women Empowerment was declared. So in that year, the same year is declared as Women Empowerment Year, that is 2001. The government has also made an amendment in an act so that women can get equal right in the family property. This is very, very important. And in earlier days, what happened is, when the head of the family, usually as this is a male dominated society, head of the family will be male. So when head of the family died, the sons, they took away all the property, and usually mother and daughters were not given their share. Because even so, if the case goes to the court, the court is also helpless, because there is no provision in the law so that the mother and daughter, they also get part of the property. There was no such law or provision made in the law so that women can get equal right just as the men in the house can get. So basically changes were done in the Hindu Marriage Act. In the Hindu Marriage Act, when the head of the family dies, then his property, whatever movable, immovable property, is divided equally among the mother and the children, that is male or female. So when that change was done in the Hindu Marriage Act, yes, the government has made an amendment in an act. That act is Hindu Marriage Act. After that, the mothers and daughters were very happy, otherwise they would be kicked out by the sons, and the property was divided among the sons, and the mother and the daughters, they didn't get anything. Now this is basically the age-old traditions that we had, that sisters, they are married and they go to another family, so their share in this family gets cancelled because they are married to some other family. So father ki death ke baad, if the mother is still alive, then she is dependent on the sons, because sons, they divide the property among themselves, and they give nothing to mother or the daughters who have got married. So by the change in this amendment, power has been given in the hands of women. Now women can have equal share in the property when the head of the family dies. So women can get equal right in the family property. Now steps taken to stop women exploitation. Gujarat government has started very, 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 very important. 181, that is Abhayam Yojana. Yes, Abhayam Women Helpline. Yes, Gujarat government has started 181 Abhayam Welfare Helpline for helping women to save themselves from various forms of violence and similar problems. Now, girls, women, whenever they see a threat to themselves, they see a danger to themselves, their lives, then they can dial 181 and they can get the help from the government, right? So Gujarat government has started the Abhayam Yojana, or the women helpline, by dialing 181. First we have to get registered, so that whenever a call is given to 181, automatically 5 other people whom you choose, the numbers that you give, they are also sent an SMS. So not only the government, other 5 known people also gets informed that this particular lady or this particular girl is in problem, and so an immediate help can reach the women and girls. So this is very, very important. Any woman can access 181 Abhayam helpline for the purpose of not only when it is danger or threat to their lives, but they want some counseling. They do not know where to get some advice or suggestion, because we know women, girls, they might be shy in approaching someone, even the own husband or even father, right? They are very shy to approach someone to get clear cut some suggestions or ideas or advice. So at any time women can get counseling help, they can get proper guidance, and they can also get information, and of course rescue in various threatening situation, including domestic violence. All of that they can get help from 181, that is Abhayam helpline. काउंसलिंग, दे नीड सम काउंसलिंग, मेरे साथ ऐसा होता है या मुझे इसमें कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, मुझे कुछ समझना है, हाउ टू अप्रोच और हाउ टू सपोज हाउ टू गेट अ जॉब, हाउ टू सिक्योर अ जॉब, गवर्नमेंट जॉब कैसे मिलती है, आई नीड काउंसलिंग बिकॉज आई रीड वेरियस न्यूज पेपर्स एंड आई डोंट गैदर एनीथिंग, राइट? सो द बेस्ट वे इज टू गेट अ प्रॉपर काउंसलिंग. इफ there are some mental or physical problems, then 181 can be taken help of. So counseling, guidance, information, of course for rescue, for rescuing the girls and women in some threatening conditions, women and girls, they can dial 181 and they can get help from 181. The government has also set up a women court so that poor women can get easy justice. Women, they work very hard for the family. Whole of their life they dedicate towards their family without worrying about the future prospects. They continuously keep on working for the family. Yes, they serve the husband, they bear the children. Yes, they bring up the children. Yes, and when she is old, when the mother is old, she doesn't get support sometimes either from the society or sometimes even from the family also. So many a times they were quite rich when their husband were living, but then after the husband deceased, their conditions become quite bad, and that is why the government has set up special women court where without any problem they can straight away go to the women court and ask for justice. They don't have to worry about the money. The government takes the case and the government fights the case for her without taking a penny from these women. So that's a very good initiative taken up by the government. Several women welfare centers have been set up to solve social, legal, employment related problems of women. Yes, so Lots of women welfare schemes are also set up by the government so that any social problem that the women might be facing, legal problems, yes, because they are educated, but as I just said, that they have dedicated their complete life for the family and they didn't have time to update themselves, so they did not know anything about the legal entanglement or the legal services, where to go, how to go, why to go. So all these questions they do not have to worry about, and they can get very at many places at a very low cost, and if they go to the government free of cost. So certain social problems, legal problems, employment related issues, right, they can be solved by the government through the women welfare schemes. Government has become strict to provide protection to women against physical, mental, sexual exploitation. Lots and lots of laws and rules and regulations are made to protect the women. So that is done strictly on a very strict basis. यहाँ जो लिखा है strict to provide protection, that means they are protected by the law. Yes, that physical abuse, mental abuse, and sexual exploitation cannot be done. So if any of these three things happen, they can certainly approach. Nowadays we have special women police station also, which readily help out the women, right? So because there are women lady police over there, so they do not have that hesitation of saying anything to the women employees who are over there, lady police who is over there. So in this way the government tries maximum to reach out to these women, so that any problem at any circumstances, any situation, condition, they can readily approach these things. The government has passed a law in the parliament under which working women have been given protection against sexual harassment that may take place in the government, private office, industry while working as a maid. At many places we see women working in the industry, in offices, or uneducated women or girls, they work as maid in houses. Now they are working alone at this place because rest of the employees are going to be male, and there might be, say, out of 50 there might be only 3 or 4 or 5 women employees. So there can be a situation where they seem a danger, or they are harassed either mentally, physically, or sexually. So in order to get protection, working women, a special law has been passed in the parliament that any woman working at any place, whether it is house or it is an industry or it is any other institute, say like school, hospital, any other institute, yes, if a woman is working over here, then complete protection will be given to her, so that there is no physical, mental, or sexual exploitation against the women. Now there are several schemes started by Gujarat to give equality to women. In 2001, Gujarat government had set up a Women and Child Development Department. Yes, 2001, central level also Department of Women and Child Development has been set up. So Gujarat government also sets up under its wing a Women and Child Development Department for social, economic and educational progress of women. The government is emphasizing these aspects of women development, namely educational empowerment, women health and women safety. These are the 3 points, that the 3 areas where the government wants to work. The aim behind such an approach is to uplift the women belonging to poor and common families and women of rural areas. The government has implemented following schemes by keeping women at the center. So lots and lots of schemes have been, various schemes have been launched by the government. Yes, time to time there is a need of some new scheme to be launched depending upon the situations, condition prevailing in the society. So when it comes to the notice of the government, yes, they make some changes to the existing scheme, or the particular scheme is closed and a new scheme takes its place. So time to time these things have to be revised and taken care of. Students, we conclude our today's lecture over here. Thank you, students.